Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're looking at a surprisingly pivotal date on the calendar, May 17th. When you really look closely at the history of this single day, it's basically a microcosm for human progress. We're going to explore how just one date on the calendar can witness major political shifts, essential scientific achievements, and unforgettable cultural milestones that literally still impact our world right now.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're covering a massive historical scope today, stretching all the way from 1814 through the mid-19th century and right up to 1954. It's kind of mind-blowing to see these anchors in time laid out chronologically like this, giving us a really clear roadmap for the journey we're about to take together.
19th century milestones, 1814 to 1875. We're starting by zooming out to the global timeline of the 19th century. We're going to examine three foundational events that happened during this window. And look, these aren't just dry dates in a history book. These are monumental moments that fundamentally shifted the political, cultural, and technological landscapes of their time.
So let's pinpoint our first major milestone, 1814. This was absolutely crucial for Norway, because on May 17, 1814, Norway officially adopted its historic constitution. This was a defining moment of national identity and self-determination that has echoed through the centuries.
And what's truly incredible is the staying power of that document. Norway's constitution is actually one of the oldest in the world that's still in use today. Every single year on May 17th, this political foundation is celebrated as Constitution Day with just immense national pride. We're talking vibrant parades, traditional clothing, music filling the streets, the whole shebang. It perfectly illustrates how a political decision from way back then continues to actively shape a country's joy today.
Now, let's jump forward about 50 years to 1865. This is another major global milestone, but this time it's all about technology. On this exact date, the International Telecommunication Union, or the ITU, was founded. Before this, a telegraph message crossing borders actually had to be manually translated and retyped at every single border check. Crazy, right? The ITU standardized that globally. It was such a real game changer that May 17th is now officially celebrated as World Telecommunication and Information Society Day.
The founding of the ITU back in 1865 was essentially planting the seed for the digital connectivity we all rely on today. The whole purpose of celebrating this day now is to spread awareness about how vital communication technology, the internet, and digital connectivity are in our lives. Think about it. That initial union paved the way for a world where smartphones, satellites, and the web connect billions of us globally. It completely transformed human interaction by making communication faster than ever before.
Just 10 years later, 1875, the first Kentucky Derby. May 17th delivered a completely different kind of milestone here. We're shifting our focus from global communications to the birth of an absolute staple in American sports culture. The very first Kentucky Derby took place on this exact day. The most exciting 2 minutes in sports. Over time, this race has earned that legendary nickname. It's fascinating to think that this event is over 140 years old, right? Growing from just a single race in 1875 into a massive global cultural phenomenon. Thousands of spectators flock to it annually, which really proves that some traditions only gather more momentum as the decades pass. And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible variety of history. But we are about to shift gears dramatically, a civil rights turning point in 1954. We're moving from a 19th century sports tradition to a profound societal earthquake in 20th century America. The year is 1954, and the date, once again, is May 17th.
Unconstitutional. The legal status assigned to racial segregation in public schools by the Supreme Court in the Brown v. Board of Education case. On this day, the Supreme Court announced one of the most important legal decisions in American history. They decisively declared that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. This single ruling stripped away the legal justification for separating students based on race, officially striking down the separate but equal doctrine.
A major turning point in the civil rights movement. The gravity of this decision really cannot be overstated. By declaring school segregation unconstitutional, this May 17th judgment helped to fight discrimination and inequality, permanently altering the future of education in America. It's a profound example of how a single day can reshape the rights and lived experiences of millions of people for generations to come.
Famous May 17 birthdays. The impact of this date stretches far beyond courts and constitutions. It also happens to be the birthday of several highly influential cultural figures.
It seems this date just naturally produces fascinating, creative people who shape our art and entertainment. Now, what's really interesting about this is the incredible diversity of talent born on this exact day. You've got the acclaimed American actor and filmmaker Dennis Hopper, born in 1936, who became a true cinematic icon with movies like Easy Rider and Apocalypse Now. Then, born in 1961, there's the Irish singer Enya, whose calming music earned her multiple Grammys. And in 1965, Trent Reznor, the hugely influential founder of Nine Inch Nails. Iconic film, relaxing atmospheric music, and intense industrial rock, all tracing their origins back to the exact same calendar date. No way, right?
The speed of technological change. Speaking of origins and how things evolve, let's transition back to that telecommunications theme we talked about earlier. When we look at history through the lens of a single date, we're really forced to reflect on the staggering pace of modern technological change that has completely transformed how we communicate.
Let's see how this builds across the timeline. Old telephones, television, internet, smartphones, and artificial intelligence. The founding of the ITU kicked off a relentless wave of human progress. We started with early radio and old phones. That evolved into TV, which exploded into the internet era. Then came smartphones, putting the whole connected world right in our pockets. And now, we're stepping into the era of AI. This rapid development just continues to radically shape our modern world, step by step.
The tapestry of time. When you take a step back and look at all of this together, you start to see what we call the tapestry of time. It's basically like a giant puzzle. It's fascinating to zoom out and realize how all these seemingly totally disparate events, a national constitution, an American horse race, a Supreme Court ruling, and the birth of global telecom, are actually deeply connected threads in the ongoing story of human progress.
Past political decisions, scientific discoveries, and cultural movements continuously shape our modern daily lives. History constantly reminds us how quickly the world changes, but also how permanent those changes can be. So why does this matter? Because a single calendar date like May 17th proves how deeply interconnected different countries and different generations truly are. Everything we experience today is built directly on what came before it.
So, the crucial point is that May 17th isn't just another day. Let's do a quick recap. In 1814, it gave us Norway's historic constitution and massive celebrations. In 1875, it launched the Kentucky Derby, a sports tradition now over 140 years old. In 1954, the historic Brown versus Board decision changed U.S. education forever. And since 1865, it's been the anchor for World Telecom Day, celebrating the digital connection that literally runs our lives.
How will today's discoveries shape tomorrow? We've seen how vital decisions and innovations from the past have built the exact reality we live in right now, which leaves us with one incredibly exciting, provocative thought to end on. How will today's discoveries shape tomorrow? Think about your own place in history as we all continue to write the next chapters together. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.